When I first heard this story about a year ago, I was a bit skeptical. I thought, can people really be that stupid or lazy? It turns out, well, I shouldn't have been skeptical. They are. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. My name's Sam Evans. Great to see you. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome back, everyone else. And thank you for plugging in, tuning in, plugging in. Are you plugging in? Are you plugging in your plug-in hybrid? Because it seems as though, apparently, well, most people aren't, which is really bizarre. But if they're not, then why would you buy a plug-in hybrid in the first place? It doesn't make sense. Now, unfortunately, if this is true, and it's been claimed by numerous people across different countries, it means plug-in hybrids are nowhere near as green. In fact, they're not green, period. So this is one of the reasons why when I report on electric vehicle sales, I make a very clear distinction between plug-in hybrids and fully electric cars. BEVs, in my opinion, a BEV is not a plug-in hybrid. And generally, when those sales figures are reported, there is a distinction between the two, so we can understand that one is a plug-in hybrid. It has an engine. It often will run on gasoline. It has an exhaust pipe, which emits noxious gases that cause many illnesses, including cancers. And yet people still say I'm wrong. They still say, no, Viking, you're wrong. Plug-in hybrids, they're electric cars. Any car with a battery, oh, hang on, they say any car with a battery is an electric car. Well, is it? What about a Prius? I mean, aren't they self-charging electric cars? Aren't they the best kind of all? No, I'm kidding here. Of course, they don't self-charge. It's just a Toyota marketing gimmick. But my point here is, there is a problem with the way we define these terms because we're making people believe that a plug-in hybrid and a hybrid are electric cars that don't have emissions, but they do. And clearly this study proves that they are not the clean solution that people think they are. Now, Inside EVs said this: it's no surprise that people are buying plug-in hybrid vehicles and then not charging them. Heck, they work as a gas car that saves fuel, so you don't actually need to plug them in. But it would arguably be nice if it was somehow required. Now, I don't agree with that statement at all, because why wouldn't you? It's so easy. You don't even need a special power point. You can just have a house power point, have an extension lead, just run it onto your street, run it onto your wherever you park. It's not difficult. So I don't understand that comment. The other thing I don't understand is, why are they more efficient? They're not more efficient. You're carrying around a heavier car. Plug-in hybrids are pretty much always heavier than a standard gasoline-powered car. How is it therefore more efficient? It's not more. If you're not plugging it in, it's actually not going to be more efficient. It's going to be less efficient. It doesn't make sense. A plug-in hybrid is essentially a traditional hybrid, aside from the fact that you can plug it in to charge its battery pack and take advantage of some miles of electric-only emissions-free driving. Not only does a plug-in hybrid, when you use it as an electric car as it's intended to be, save you money, but it's better for the environment. And that is true if you use it as it's intended, which is, using the electric vehicle range. I mean, the average person, the average plug-in hybrid, except for some of those wacky ones that we've seen from Mercedes lately that have like 10 miles of range, but the average one has, a good range, say 50 miles plus. Some BYD vehicles have 150 or more kilometers. Therefore, 98% of the time, you'd only be using it in electric mode. But if they're not being charged, well, it doesn't work that way. Like fully electric cars, though, plug-in hybrids are generally more expensive to buy than gas cars. Now, of course, these rules don't apply in China, but we're talking about the rest of the world here. There's no point in spending the extra money on a vehicle with a plug-in powertrain if you're not going to plug it in. So don't even bother buying one if you don't plan on plugging it in. Now, one of the things I've noticed is that countries around the world are starting to remove incentives for plug-in hybrids, especially in Europe. Why are they doing it in Europe? Because they've two things. One, done research and surveys to find out if people are plugging them in. Many people have said they're not. And they've actually done research on the cars to see if they get their claimed actual fuel economy averages. And guess what? Not a single one does. Not one. Out of the tests they've done, there is not a single plug-in hybrid that comes even remotely close to getting their claims, except they haven't tested BYDs. I think BYDs would probably get it because they have more than 100 kilometers of range, but the average European EV has less than 100 kilometers of range. Therefore, it's switching over to its gasoline engine much sooner than, say, a BYD, which on average has, like I said, 100 to 200 kilometers of range, which would definitely change the efficiency. Now, according to Green Car Reports, many people aren't using their plug-in hybrids as advertised. The self-reported fuel economy figures used in the study come from Fuely.com. Another important data was collected by the California Bureau of Automotive Repair. Based on the study, real-world electric miles driven in plug-in hybrids could be 25 to 65% lower than the vehicle allows. Moreover, plug-in hybrid drivers are consuming 42 to 67% more fuel than the EPA estimates. 42 to 67% more than the EPA estimates. That's a lot more fuel than what the manufacturers are claiming. So it's coming from two problems. One, they're not as efficient as the manufacturers are claiming. Two, people are plugging them in. This is just making the cars, in my opinion, a bit of a joke. That's what I think anyway. Now keep in mind, says Inside EVs, nearly every plug-in hybrid on the market today is also available as a gas-only car or a traditional hybrid with no plug. For example, if you can get your hands on one, because they're not easy to find, you could spend a good amount of money on a Toyota RAV4 Prime. But if you're not going to be plugging it in, you're better off just buying a RAV4 hybrid or a hybrid, or actually no, scrap that. You're better off just buying an electric car. Then, well, you don't have much choice. You just have to get into the habit of plugging it in. But that said, I mean, most people only drive an average of about 30 miles a day, meaning you don't have to plug it in all that often, really. So my question is, if you're one of those people, why would you buy a plug-in hybrid if you don't intend on plugging it in? And the thing is, so many people aren't doing it. I'm so baffled. That's why I'm genuinely curious to know why people do it. The craziest thing about all of this, though, is the new US federal tax credit. It gives incentives, the $7,500 credit, to plug-in hybrids and not to some of the most mainstream electric cars in the US. Tesla Model Y, Mustang Mach-E, for example. This is crazy. Makes no sense. I really don't think they thought that through. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.